Bonjour à tous les amis, c'est encore moi Kevin, auteur du blog Le Japon en noir et blanc. Aujourd'hui, j'ai une invitée spéciale. So today I have a special guest. She will introduce herself.
Hey guys, my name is Kikyo. I'm from China, Shanghai. I'm living in Japan for 7-8 years now. I'm a college student, study media and a junior now. Nice to meet you.
Ok. Comme elle l'a dit, bon, elle vient de Chine, Shanghai, et voilà, elle est chinoise. Et c'est intéressant, c'est pour ça que j'ai demandé de l'interviewer, parce qu'on a souvent des témoignages d'étrangers africains, d'étrangers européens et tout ça au Japon. Donc aujourd'hui, elle va nous parler un peu de son expérience en tant qu'étrangère asiatique au Japon. So, you say you are Chinese, so can you introduce yourself in Chinese, please?
大家好，我的名字叫 Kikyo， 很高兴认识大家。我是一个中国人，然后在日本生活了快7-8年。
So, I have one question, one important question to start. Can you tell me about your good experiences in Japan and your worst experiences in Japan?
Okay, so for the worst part, usually happened when I didn't speak Japanese when I first came to Japan. And that was, I think, like when I was 15 or 16 years old. And I was trying to do part-time jobs, which I was a high school student. And it's a restaurant in a really fancy hotel. And one of my jobs is just to bring the dishes, and I have to have a training program before the work. My manager is kind of like an old Japanese guy, and during the program he was like, have you heard that Japanese toilet is really clean? Do you really think so? So he actually asked me a question like that, and I was like, like what question is that? And after that he was like, so is it true that Chinese toilets are dirty? Like he literally said that to me in front of every Japanese person, which I think like 20 people. So I was kind of shocked, but I didn't really speak Japanese back then, so I didn't really say anything back. But that's, I think, my worst experience.
Wow, oh, that's crazy, that's crazy. Hey, do you think these kind of things happen because you are Chinese or because you're a foreigner?
I think for that thing, definitely it's because I'm Chinese, because he asked me some specific question about Chinese toilets. So,
why he did this?
First thing, I think maybe I was really young. I'm just a high school student. Second thing, I think he's a just old Japanese man. So, you know, a lot of old Japanese might kind of like rude to foreigners. And the third reason was because I didn't speak any Japanese. I understand.
Oh, you're just understanding. Do you think there's a lot of like stereotypes like this in Japan about Chinese people?
I would say right now I don't experience any about that. But like back then when I didn't speak any Japanese, a lot of things happen like that.
Oh, that's really sad. So what about the good experiences?
The good experience is that I made a lot of Japanese friends in Japan, and a lot of people accepted me because I'm an interesting person, not just because I'm a foreigner, blah blah. And I just realized people are so much nicer, more kind if you speak Japanese. I mean, I think it's the same if you're in China or any Asian country. So, and I also got a lot of good experience when I go to like model agency, or there are some chances that specifically only offer to foreigners, and a lot of Japanese can't get those chances, and I can, which is really good.
Ooh, that's interesting, because you know in Europe, all Asian people, for European, all Asian people are Chinese. When you came to Japan, everybody could notice you are not Japanese?
So when I first came here, I didn't speak Japanese. Obviously, everyone's be like, oh, you're not Japanese. And I didn't dress Japanese when I first came here, because most Japanese girls dressing really cute and like very simple. And after I lived here for a long time, I feel like I fit in more. So I dress more Japanese style, my makeup and my features maybe look more Japanese. And people can't really tell without talking. Without talking, they can't even tell I'm a I'm Chinese.
Oh.
So I think it's more like when you fit in, change your dressing style, your makeup style, people's gonna be like, I can't really tell, what are you?
Me, I heard something about like foreigners in Japan. I heard like Japanese are more strict to Asian foreigners. Is it true? It means they are more strict about languages. About like, for example, they will like expect that a Korean or a Chinese person can speak better Japanese than a white guy, for example, or a black guy. Is it true? You never experience these kind of things that people say, oh, you're Asian, so you have to learn fast Japanese, or you're supposed to learn Japanese, you're supposed to speak Japanese?
I've never had that kind of experience. People be like, oh, you're Chinese, so you must be good at Japanese. Most people are really impressed about like, wow, you speak 3 languages.
About Japanese? They never...
To be honest, when I was in high school, it's a normal Japanese high school. I transferred to Tokyo. And in that high school, I'm the only foreigner, and everyone's be like, you must be Japanese. Like, you look like Japanese, and you should speak Japanese. That thing kind of happened.
Oh, but you learned super fast Japanese, I think, no? You know, how long did you take to learn Japanese? Like 1 year, 2 years? It took a long time for you to learn Japanese.
I actually never went to like a school or a textbook to learn Japanese. And I learned Japanese from the environment and talking to my friends. I think since when I was 2nd year of high school. And then I started to speak Japanese when I got into college.
So it means it's possible to, because me, I'm always saying to my followers that it's possible to learn Japanese without like going to language school or something like this. You can learn like Japanese talking with your friends, watching anime, watching drama, all these kind of things. It's possible without any books to learn Japanese.
To be honest, I have never watched like anime.
Yeah.
I watched some Japanese drama, but like it's back so long time ago. I think it's possible because you can just, I mean, speaking Japanese is easy to learn. But if like for writing or reading, I don't think it's that easy because everything is so difficult.
Yeah, for foreigners, for other foreigners, man, I think for maybe for Chinese, it's a bit easy. You got the meaning of how do you say, kanji, but you don't have a reading. You have the onyumi, but you don't have a kunyumi. So yeah. Okay, interesting. What is the most shocking stuff you heard in Japan? The most things you are like, oh, how you can say this?
Oh, as a Chinese, like what Japanese people say to me?
Yeah.
I think most, not shock, but like some maybe like younger students, like junior students, they will ask me like, do they have this in China? Like for example, do they have ramen in China? Do they have pencil in China? I was kind of shocked. I mean, they kind of just don't know that kind of things. Maybe they're still like young.
Yeah.
And I was shocked. I mean, they're not being racist to me, just like they wonder. I mean, everything you get in Japan, you can get it in China. So.
That's true. So now you are like university student. What is your future project? What do you plan to do in the future? You plan to live all your life in Japan?
Probably not all my life in Japan, but I pretty much enjoy living in Japan. I think it's a really safe place. And also my plan, so first I want to do as much as internships I can in the college. So I'm doing a lot of different stuff about my media major. And after that, I want to work in Japan for 3 years, but probably a foreign company because it's so much easier and not many rules compared with Japanese companies. And after that, I want to try to get an American college for master degree.
Oh, that's really interesting. Oh, I forgot to tell at the beginning of the video, she got the YouTube channel. She got Instagram also. I will put all the links below, so in the YouTube description. I want you to know something. There is kind of how do you say, a Chinese community in Japan, like Chinese brotherhood community. For example, if you got the issue, you are in trouble, you can go there and people will help you. This is kind of organization in Japan.
I feel like there are definitely a lot of like Chinatown, not actual Chinatown, but Chinatown, China City places in Japan. And I feel like most Chinese people study abroad, they kind of like stay in the little group, so they only speak Chinese. But I also know a lot of like global international Chinese students. I think it's better to stay out of your comfort zone to actually learn the local language, and not to find a place to be like, oh, I'm Chinese, I have to stay here. And there are definitely a lot, but if you really need help, you can go to the Daishgang, which is the embassy, Chinese embassy in Japan. Like, you don't have to find a actual local team. And it's better to make friends with everyone.
So you said before you lived like 15 years in China?
14, yeah.
14 years in China? What is the really big difference you can say between like China and Japan?
Like culturally?
No, in everything.
Everything. I think culturally, Japanese people tend to like talk very. They're not saying the truth sometimes. Like when I was in high school, when I say I hate this teacher, my classmate kind of told me, you can't say you hate her. You can only say I'm not good with her. So, but like as a Chinese, I tend to say a lot of things just straight, just like Americans say whatever I want.
I realized this. Yeah, it's real. I realized this in China, and like even when I was working with my Chinese colleagues, we say things straight. Yeah, like in France it's the same. We say things straight. It's maybe in Japan sometimes it's like, you know, maybe. I think it's different. What about the food? Food, you like both? Japanese food, the Chinese food?
So to be honest, I never eat Chinese food in Japan because they're just not real Chinese food, I feel. So it's been a while for me to taste Chinese food. But I don't eat fish. And fish is really big part of Japanese food. So usually maybe I go American food, like burgers, or like Hawaiian food, like garlic shrimp. So I'm eating like different kinds of food.
Okay, so I have one last question. You said before that you are doing some modeling, like even on Instagram I saw you doing like kind of freelance modeling, and you're doing also sometimes for shooting and everything. So you know, like Chinese beauty standards, you know, Japanese beauty standards. What do you think? These are similar? What do you think about Japanese beauty standard compared to Chinese beauty standards?
Beauty standard, I think in China, it's kind of weird. Like every girl's trying to get slim, like very, very skinny, which I think most Asia, like women tend to get like skinnier body. They just want skinnier body. But like in China, it's even crazier. So I think it's not right beauty standard. It's just like you can't be like I will never eat for a day to like get skinnier to get into the model industry. In Japan, I think that also happens, but in the big difference is in China, models have to be really, really tall, like really, really tall, probably
180,
170, more than 170 to be a model, normal model. But in Japan, if you more than 160, it's good enough.
Okay, so it was interesting and really interesting. Really thank you for all the explanations. Or if you have a last word to say, what you will say, like for example, if a Chinese watching this video, if a French Chinese watching this video, what do you say for Asian people who want to move to Japan? Because sometimes they can be afraid, because I don't know if it's true, but he says a lot of things like Chinese and Japanese are not friends, Japanese and Korean are not friends. Oh, so what do you think about this?
I mean, like in history and a lot of like politics, it's probably an issue. But I mean, like every country is kind of like fighting with each other in the politics way. But in real life, I think everyone should make friends with like people all over the world. Because I'm in Japan, I have more Japanese friends than Chinese friends. I make friends with every single one. It's not an issue. I mean, like if you're kind, if you speak different languages, people are willing to have fun with you.
Yeah. Nice one. Bon, ok les gars, la vidéo est terminée. Franchement, c'est très intéressant. N'oubliez pas de la rejoindre sur sa chaîne YouTube, sur son Instagram et tout ça. Je vais mettre tous les liens dans la description. Et comme elle a dit, le japonais c'est important à la famille. N'oubliez pas de vous rendre sur mon site internet japonnoiriblanc.com pour procurer mon ebook Comment apprendre à parler japonais et tout dire en japonais sans aucun effort. Et si vous souhaitez qu'un jour on fasse une autre vidéo ensemble, peut-être sur un sujet, dites-le moi en commentaire. En tout cas, voilà. Merci beaucoup. Chier. La bise à tous la famille.